Hey, what's up guys? Today we've got our first look at iOS 13 through a series of screenshots that have been leaked via developer Rambo in collaboration with 9to5Mac. Of course, that rascal's always behind all of these leaks, and something tells me we've got several more to go before the official release of iOS 13 Beta 1 here in just a week. But this is it. This is the home screen of iOS 13, and it's very unassuming. It looks like nothing has changed at all. All of the icons are still the same, the Apple TV icon from 12.3. The only difference is the dark mode. So we do see a very light darkening of the dock here. It's very similar to something we'd see in Noctis, which is a jailbreak tweak. So even that looks better. Apple has spent this much time and that's all they could come up with. I'm a little disappointed. We still do have a week and who knows what may change until then, but wow, I mean, I expected more. Now they went into more detail and they actually gave us a look inside of one of the applications, the music app, and they're assuming that we might see a true dark mode in certain applications, meaning on an organic LED display, all of the black pixels would get turned off and it would be a perfect dark. This, for example, is not a perfect dark, it's a gray dark. And we did hear earlier in the leaks that it would be more of this style just to prevent smearing when scrolling, so that would make sense. But here we're seeing a very pitch black music application. This is it in iOS 13. So I like the blending of the UI, and to give you more info or another look at that, here's Noctis XI, and in the control center you'd see darker toggles here. So it's probably going to look very similar to this, which is cool, but I expected more. And then we have a look at the actual MarkUp application or the tools in iOS 13, both for the iPad and on the iPhone. And here, this gives me a little hope, and that's skeuomorphism. That's, in a way, very light skeuomorphism where we're seeing some details on all of the pencils and pens, and I like it. It's clean, it's fresh, and in general, there's a new trend going on here. Basically, we're gonna be seeing a change in the user interface where Apple is shying away from buttons like this that are not surrounded by circles, just little cutouts, little icons there, to more of these where they're going to be glyphs inside of circles throughout the user interface. And it's cool, it's more bubbly, you kind of know where to press more intuitively right away. Not that there's anything wrong with these, it's just this is a design trend that Apple's trying to set with iOS 13, and I certainly like it. It seems like overall developers on Twitter are liking it as well, and Benjamin Mayo gives an example here where the glyphs themselves is just a night and day difference. These are flat in the markup area, and in the new interface they're more skeuomorphic, a little bit more depth to them, I guess you can say, just more friendlier. And in general, that's just a design trend we're going to be seeing throughout iOS. In music application, we're not seeing that. There's still those glyphs not surrounded by anything, but overall pretty cool. It's just not huge. It's nothing crazy inspiring. We had all these hopes for iOS 13, but hey, I may be talking complete smack. We haven't seen anything yet, just a few screenshots, and developer Rambo teases tomorrow we're going to see some more. So let's stay tuned for that before coming to any real conclusions. But iOS 13, at least they're giving us a dark mode, you know, at least there's that. There was also the conclusion that this dark mode will help you with battery life. You'll see some gains there in iOS 13. As long as you have an organic LED display, it will not make a difference for the iPhone XR or like the iPhone 8, let's say. You have to have that specific technology to see those benefits. And on the iPad, as you can see, there is a new reminders application that has been redesigned, and we're likely to see a very similar redesign amongst many applications on the iPad. So as you can see, the glyphs are bubblier, it just looks much more friendly, but not much has really changed if you really look at it. Also, they're using the new San Francisco rounded font. So originally introduced in the Wallet app in iOS 12.2, they're spreading it out and using it in more applications, which is a nice change. Definitely looks clean. And also a cool one, so we heard about this earlier, the Find My iPhone and Find My Friends applications are getting combined into one. So it'll be called just Find My now, and it's got this new icon, which looks really cool, I guess. They made true on that promise. That was a leak that absolutely did come true, and looks like you'll be able to track pretty much anything. Just by the name, how it suggests Find My Friends, Find My iPhone, Find My tag, whatever that electronic tag is that they're gonna sell alongside it. So very cool. At least there will be one icon that's changed, but I was holding out hope that iOS would be redesigned as a whole. Rambo says that we were never really promised that, there was no leak about it, but it would have been neat to see at least a few icons change, at least in size, allow us to store more on larger devices. Now, we don't know that that won't be happening, but so far from the leaked screenshot, it's not very inspiring that we're going to see that change here in just a week. Assuming the iPad is getting some major redesigns, I thought that would trickle down to the iPhone. That's where my belief came from, that Apple would be redesigning it. But I guess another year of very minimal design changes in terms of icons. Now, they also claimed that the screenshot user interface will be changing. Instead of this entire part will be getting blurred out, and you'll have more controls here on the bottom, very similar to something like this where you can immediately mark it up, share it. As we heard earlier, the share sheet settings would be changing, so we're likely to see that in abundance, not only on the screenshot user interface, but pretty much everywhere in iOS 13. And here's one that I did not expect to see today. The iPod Touch 7th generation is here, and it's a very underwhelming release. So what I hyped to you guys, the full screen display, just I guess it doesn't make sense on a device like this that really is a budget bin device. They really don't care about it that much. The price tag is pretty fair, $199 for 32 gigabytes, $299 for 128, and $399 for 256. The storage is expensive, but you're getting an Apple A10 now, and no Face ID or Touch ID yet, so still very cheap. They really don't care about the security of this device, I guess. Nothing new in design or pretty much anything. No new colors, just same old, but there is a new iPod Touch and it's fairly cheap. And this alone is exciting to me because this new display is staying, and it's very likely Apple will update this to get iOS 13. That means the iPhone SE could be getting iOS 13 as well. So anyone holding out on one of those, you can breathe a sigh of relief knowing Apple will be updating your device to iOS 13. Presumably. That's just a pretty well-educated guess, assuming that they just released this device a week from iOS 13. Of course it's going to support it, and it's not going to be the only 4-inch display device left in the lineup. And one last thing that's actually quite exciting. So we've got an update on Apple's over-ear headphones. We've been hearing about them working on these for a while. I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing these this year, but the latest patent actually details a couple technologies that are very interesting on these headphones. So first off is they're going to be collapsible in a very unique way to over-ear headphones. I haven't seen this being done with pretty much any, and that's in the sense that they're going to be collapsed flat. So here in the patent, we can see that you're going to fold them in, and the band will actually be flexible and adjust. As you can see, it is quite flexible. It'll adjust to the earpieces and sit flat in the case. So the case technology alone will be quite interesting. Not only that, there's going to be touch input sensors on the side. And a very interesting one is the lightning ports. As you can see, could be part of the stem or the headpiece. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing these pretty soon, and Apple has been working extensively on these. This is a very well-detailed patent. I'm going to leave it down below in the description. All right, and last thing I wanted to mention is iOS 12.4 Developer Beta 3. So this is the last iOS 12 update where Apple will leave off right before iOS 13 for many devices, including the iPad Air and the iPad Mini 2/3 likely. The iPhone 5S and iPhone 6 are getting left behind, and with what we've learned today, the iPhone SE is probably safe, and the 6S was rumored safe as well. So pretty much almost every device but the very oldest will not be getting iOS 13. And hey Alpha, how you doing? Anyways, so I did go ahead and update. Overall, I haven't noticed any big features, but in this update, for the first time, I'm seeing some changes. Just the feedback application has a new icon now on 12.4 Beta 3, and that's what we're getting to. There are so few updates that you can visually see that we're getting to little changes like that. Also, in the actual menu for downloading the update profile, you can see over here that the interface is much cleaner. I like it a lot. It looks very futuristic here, and it's very likely we'll be seeing text formats like this throughout iOS 13 here in just a week. So yeah, that's just about that. Two changes that I noticed after this update. Otherwise, storage is just about the same. Actually returned some after updating to iOS 12.4. Only other thing I wanted to mention is a Geekbench. And lastly, regarding iOS 13, the release schedule, we're going to be seeing the beta here in a week. Not everyone besides developers will be able to install it in a week. You will likely have to wait about a week is what it takes to usually get to the public beta, and we'll see then. But I'm going to be sharing all those little details with you. We're going to be going through it. From what we hear, a lot of individual application redesigns, but not total redesign as many have hyped, including me. So I'm sorry about that. But anyway, something I wanted to point out as we're entering iOS 13 is this. I actually reported on this a while ago, November 9th, 2017. Johnny Ive actually, given an interview, he did say that the iPhone X would evolve over time, that they've built the hardware and now the software needs to catch up. And I just want to bring this up because I want to keep this guy accountable. If we're not seeing some major changes to the iPhone X interface, maybe a control center down here, I mean, that's one of the biggest and most intuitive changes that I can think of in the navigation. You know, I'm gonna be quite angry. So they promised us so much buying into that new iPhone, very expensive one, and we so far haven't seen it in the software. iOS 12.4 is pretty consistent with what we've seen otherwise. All right, guys, so that's our first look at iOS 13, just a week early. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more here, as rumored and hyped by developer Rambo. Keep you guys updated on everything in between, but honestly, if that's pretty much what it is, I'll be a little disappointed. We waited a year for that. I keep hyping it to all my friends that are using Android that this is the year Apple's going to finally add a bunch of those features, which I hope they will. I mean, it's still too soon to say, but we'll see.